the Big 12 here. How are we really positioned looking at these two teams? We thought it would go down to the wire, really, because Oklahoma hasn't knocked out anybody. And Oklahoma State has kind of been, slitting throats quietly all season. Trevor, I'm going to start with you. Your biggest impression right now as the Pokes lead by 4 in our time with a minute and change left. Your biggest impression right now, where we stand.
Yeah, this is classic Bedlam game right here. You've got two teams battling out, leaving it all out on the field. We knew this was going to be a good one coming in. Everybody's picking Oklahoma State because they've been more consistent throughout the year. But Oklahoma has slowly slipped by and slipped by and slipped by to put themselves in a position here to play into the Big 12 title game. We know that Oklahoma State has already punched their ticket to Dallas next weekend, and this is for a rematch. And of course, it comes down to the wire here. Like all the games that I was a part of when I was wearing the Sooner uniform, Bedlam is crazy, especially going up there to Boone Pickens Stadium. Anything can happen. They're banging the paddles on the walls. It's going nuts. And so we'll see if they can get a big stop here and go down and put a couple points on the board and make this thing interesting here at the end.
Bryce, speaking of interesting, you've played, like Trevor's played within this rivalry. You've played and beaten both of these programs, Sooner Nation and Okie State. Like, just your overall impressions of these two programs with the hungry Baylor program kind of waiting to get a chance to break in on this. Are we looking at a rematch here? If either team wins, are we looking at an automatic rematch, or does Baylor have a case in particular if Oklahoma loses? They both have 2 losses and Baylor has the Baylor.
Yeah. I mean, shit, man, if Oklahoma State, can pull this out, it's Oklahoma State Baylor in the Big 12 championship game. That's why I'm pulling for the Pokes, which I never do. I hate them.
Go ahead. Say it again.
Yeah. But no, just kind of echoing Trevor's deal too. I mean, to me, I felt like Oklahoma State was going to run all over these guys because of how their defense has played the last couple of weeks, really finding their identity, stopping the run, getting off the field on third down. Oklahoma's been in this kind of weird, seesaw with who their quarterback is for the first time. And really, since really Lincoln Riley's tenure as play caller has really struggled on the offensive side of the ball. And this is just, shoot, man, it runs through Bedlam. So I think this is good for the Big 12 when this game is as good as it is, regardless of what, the guys are doing in Austin. So I'm really excited to see a rematch really between, Baylor and Oklahoma State. Two kind of really good defenses, even though we let up some big plays in the pass game today. But this kind of bodes well. And this is, just real quick to tack on, as Caleb Williams comes back out and has a chance, this was a game that was won by Oklahoma State 3 quarters ago. We just, again, it's turnovers in rivalry games always kick your butt, especially with special teams as well. And all those came up 100-yard kickoff return. We also had a punt fumble, and Oklahoma did as well. So this is just a really good, just a fun rivalry game, end of the year kind of stuff. And this is where Caleb Williams is going to grow up, 18 years old, was playing high school ball last year. Time to grow up.
Hack, speaking of growing up, you've been a young quarterback, an 18, 19-year-old starter in the Storm, watching Caleb Williams, and Trevor made a great point before we actually came on air. He watched the first half of the season. Like, he's really only been out there. What's this, game 4, maybe game 5, something like that? Or is he really just kind of playing on instincts, or is he just like young? Or as I'm watching him go all the way down the field on a 50-yard run, like, when do we start to see the maturation process, or he is what he is for right now, just a young guy just trying to make it happen the best way he can?
I think that's a really good question. I think it varies. Just thinking back to my true freshman year, like the growth from week 1 to week 2, and really from like week 2 to week 3, 4 for me was a lot. And I could see it and I felt it in my play. I think that obviously had a lot to do with how much time I put in with my coach and what his expectations were and the ability that he gave me at the line of scrimmage and things of that nature. It got me in this space of just thinking about that and not worrying about anything else. And I think that really helped. Had a bunch of great guys around me, had some older guys who helped make that transition smoother for me. So I don't really know what Caleb's situation is in terms of in terms of what they expect from him, where his mental capacity is, what his role is in terms of driving that offense and operating. So it's hard for me to speak to that, but at least from my experience, I just feel that by the time you get to that 3-4 games, like, you know what to expect. At least I did. So for me, I think there's room for him to grow, obviously, and there's room for maturity. But with regards to the speed of the game, what's going on, knowing his role within the offense, I think he should have a fairly good grasp on that. And again, I don't want to speak for anybody, but that's
So Caleb is going to be a big part of this equation regardless. Oklahoma State goes on, Sooners go on. But to the two Big 12 alum, if they win out, yes, the math says there's a seat there for the Big 12 with a one-loss team if they win out. My question to you, Trevor, and to you, Bryce,
maybe
either way, is either one of these teams one of the 4 best teams in America?
I'll take that, Bryce, because I've had my stamp on this for a while. A few weeks ago, if you guys joined us, I said that if Oklahoma could remain undefeated, then that was their only shot to get into the playoff. I still kind of believe that based off of where the committee has put the Big 12 and just the level of talent in the Big 12, what they've put on the field, how they've beat up on each other. That being said, a lot of these other conferences have started to beat up on each other in a way that we did not predict. I predicted Ohio State was going to beat Michigan. They were going to have no problem. It was going to be Georgia number 1, Ohio State number 2, and everybody else, it really didn't matter after that. At this point now, with all the mayhem that has gone on today, all the craziness that could even go on next week, I just don't think we've seen enough ball. And I know that's crazy to say because here we are at rivalry week. I don't think we've seen enough ball to be able to punch the ticket 100% certain for the Big 12 yet. If Oklahoma State can pull this out right now, which it looks like they are.
Looks like they just did.
Just did.
Then who knows? They'll play Baylor next week, and they're just going to have to send up a prayer that the committee is on their side. But, man, a disappointing loss there for me and my guys.
Bryce, Baylor and Oklahoma State get in. What an impressive win for Oklahoma State, first of all. I mean, they traded blows. There's a student that just tackled the Oklahoma State quarterback. They traded blows. They were down, they were up. It was all over the place. Baylor gets in against this Oklahoma State team and beats them. Baylor knocks the Big 12 out, or are you making a case that Baylor should then step in as a conference champ from a Power 5 conference?
No, I mean, I think you have to go off of Trevor's point, right? It's what the committee's already shown us. And to be, fair, as hell of a season that would be for Baylor. We actually are the only 9-9 win team in the top 10 right now. So we're the only kind of 2-loss team in there. So, there is respect there, but for them to jump Cincy, for them to jump Notre Dame, it's going to be too hard. And then, you're going to have everybody going, well, Bama lost to, undoubtedly the best team in college football in the conference championship. So I think there's just too many rungs to climb there on that ladder for Baylor to get in.
Fellas, we're it's just like watching a boxer who his legs wouldn't let him go down. But Oklahoma looked like that boxer who's been knocked out really since mid-season. They're too tough for their own good, but it wasn't a matter of if, but when. And I hate to say that about, of such a proud program, Trevor, but like Texas had him down, 20 something. Then they proceed to go on a 6-game losing streak. The Jayhawks have him pinned down with 6 minutes left to go in the game. And they crawl out of Lawrence, Kansas. Like so many opportunities, they don't make it through Waco. They don't make it here. It just looks like the proud champ that just wouldn't go down. I mean, I don't even know I'm calling him a champ, just a proud contender or a proud, fighter who wouldn't go down.